Hello, I'm David. So now I'm going to do an unboxing of Flamecraft, the Kickstarter edition. Now this is 1 to 5 players, 60 minutes, and ages 10 and up. Now an interesting story about this, I backed this at the $1 level, but when we were having all the shipping issues, and because the publisher hadn't shipped their other one so late, I didn't finish the pledge manager. However, I was able to get it from a retailer after the Kickstarter. So let's take a look here at what is inside. So nice thick box. Here's the rulebook. Move this over a little bit. Got a nice table of contents that show the backs and fronts of cards. These are things I look for that it's based on my dissertation. These are things I can tell whether or not they're doing some basic things. They have a full setup. Okay, so they're using color coding here for different sections. And at least the background, there's enough contrast. Now the green on green can be an issue maybe for some. All right, it's just all green, so there's, but it seems like a decent read. Okay, so gathering is green, enchanting is purple. End of turn. So 13 pages isn't bad. And they have a reference section here, whether it be a appendix. And then variant rules, such as a solo mode. Interesting, they have achievements. Now, it's interesting. Are there reference cards in the box? Because usually you would have a reference card here. You know, reference material. So this could be a wasted opportunity. So let's take a look at the playmat first. And you can see this is a nice organizer here. I think it's, oh, okay. It's not shrink wrapped. So a little thin, but it is weaved. Thin isn't necessarily bad. What's the most important part is there enough color separation here on the mat. Because I've gotten some mats that whatever the process they've used, you can't see the text very well. And this seems about average quality here. And it's pretty long, as you can see. So this will require a pretty big table then. And if I show it here on the, what is this, 3 feet? About the size of a toddler. Anyway, so you have, if I remember properly, there's different spots for, see, I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to get this on the camera when we do a playthrough. I don't know if I even zoom all the way out, I can get it on. So I have to think about that. We have the different shop locations, and you got a score track. So the numbers aren't as popping as well. I mean, at least they're large enough print that you can see them. It does have a slight odor, which can happen. Not as bad as some playmats we have received, where you got to put it in another room and let it air out for days, if not weeks. So there is a slight smell. All right, let's see what else we got here. So you have component trays. And this is what's a Kickstarter edition, I believe, upgraded components. And more cards. And you have a nice, now this is a nice bag, but it's not very big. I'm not too sure what it's used for. If it's used to grab things, somebody with larger hands, you might not be able to mix up as well. I'm not sure if it's just to hold things or if it's actually to draw things. So if it is to draw things, it could be a little bigger. But it has a nice, looks like it's heat. It's not a weave, obviously, so I wonder how long that will hold up over time. Will it crack? Because things like that, depending on the weather or over time, will that start to crack and peel off. So we have coins, which again, I'm going to open all these up. And remember, don't eat this. There's a silica. So you have some plastic dragons and some wood pieces. So I'll show that first. That way I can put things back. Oh, there's even more pieces here, score markers underneath. So right away you can see that they definitely did a good job of production. So here are these wood pieces, and they're stamped on both sides. Nice touch. You know, and if you go over 50, obviously, and they're stamped with different things. So it's just not, that does carry additional expense to create different stamps. It's very nice. So here are the wood dragons. I assume, I'll go on the other camera here. I assume that this is what you normally get. This in itself is they're nice. Maybe even use them in Clank and have a happy dragon, right? And then here are the plastic counterparts. I'll show them up close on camera here. Oh, I didn't notice there actually was a yellow piece in there too. So there's 6 of those wood pieces. But it's for 1 to 5 players. So I guess they include another color just for options? I'm not sure. So why include 6 colors unless you just want to provide more color options? All right, so let's take a look at decent detail. Not the best, but definitely not there's enough detail there to hold paint. Let me brighten this up a little bit. There we go. Much better. Each one of these is a mold. And it's an injection mold. And it can be quite expensive. So not only to do wood pieces, everything on the bottom. See, manufacturers missed the opportunity to put information here on the bottom. Wizards of the Coast did that with their miniatures for D&D and Star Wars miniatures. Maybe it doesn't need information on there, but for instance, if these dragons have names, you could have put it on the bottom there. This is what I mean by, like I said, there is a scale. Now, a less quality miniature would be all smooth and have no detail. So like I said, these are decent. And they're hard plastic. They're not bendy. Well, you can bend them, but my point is they're not so bendy that it won't hold its shape. Now, one reason why I was hesitant to complete the Pledge Manager is I'm concerned that this might be too fiddly. And what I mean by that is you're going to be so much going on that you got to look at A, B, and C, and D to do something, and then after you do it, you got to do this, this, and that. We'll see. It's not necessarily, there's games we have that do that, but it feels like work, then it's no fun. Some people have more tolerance for that. I haven't been a gamer since first edition D&D in the late 70s. I've played my share of overly complicated games. So we'll see. But we saw the reviews. It doesn't seem like that's the case. Now here's the metal coins. Now these are nice, hefty. Yeah, these are nice quality. Some of the best metal coins I have felt in a game. So here's this. I don't know if this is a first player token. So the dragon heads all around. That's pretty cool. Not too sure what that says. I have it upside down. It's kind of hard to read upside down. Okay, Flamecraft. And I guess, is that the land or the town? So there you go. And then, I mean, you can hear the weight. Kind of like when you hold poker chips. Nice quality poker chips. It has a weight to it. It feels good in your hand. All right, so same image, but one's gold and you have that one silver. Okay, so let's take a look at the wood bits, and then I'll break open the cards here. So there's 2 trays. Does that mean you're going to have them on each end of the board? So that way players can have access to it. So that's a nice touch. They didn't have to do that. So to have it broken up into 2 trays, so you can split it between the 2 when you have a long board like that. That's nice. So, you know, here's, I assume, meat. They're almost a little too small. Now, that's not a problem if you're going to have a lot of resources and you don't want to have things be too big. But again, if you increase the size, it's also increased cost. And the fact that they're stamped, that's an increased cost too. And again, that's a nice touch. You know, even 20% bigger. It almost feels like you can lose these. So you got to be careful, especially if you have young children around. They're gonna like these bits. So I can see these getting lost if you're not careful. But at least, you know, they're nice thickness. So that's nice to have 2 trays. All right, so let's take a look at the bigger cards first. Visit a store. Or visit a shop, I should say. So these are the reference cards. So remember I said it would be nice to have reference cards. They do, but even then, you could have it back here. Maybe there's other things you'd want to put back there. So that's a waste. That might be a wasted opportunity. Or maybe the game is so simple you don't need to do that. So you can see there's 1 for each color. Oh, well, there's 8 colors. Don't know why. Is this a different... And there are how many dragons? There's 6 dragons. That's a sold, so this is a different card, but there's 7 of these. I don't know what the differentiation is. Oh, there's 7. Okay, I can count. All right, so there's 1 for each Well, there's 6 dragons, but 7 colors there. I don't know why. Okay, well, let's see what's on the. Let's see what these. See this up close. Because you're having trouble seeing it. And that follows the rule book. We saw the green pages were gather, purple pages were enchant, and end of turn was, I believe, red. And then here, fantasy dragons, artisan dragons, moon and sun. What's that in the corner there? Okay. Now you did have this different card here. Visit a shop. It says sold. And it has more detail about end of turn. Interesting. And then it has achievements. Now, would you mark this down with tokens of some kind? You probably wouldn't want to mark it down with permanent marker. All right, so there's that. Yeah, I'm not too sure unless I'm missing something. I don't know why there's 7 of them. So these looks like these are the shops. And there were some of those in the other one too. So let me just move this over a little bit. Because when we do unboxings, we try to show you everything in detail. Now the other sides, it's all the same. Oh, it's not all the same. So this must be something with the setup here. Maybe these come out at a certain time of the game. So let's do these right here first. Where there's less. Are these the starter ones? Do they come out? Like some, you know how Ticket to Ride will have long routes and short routes. So there you go. There's those. Okay, and here are, it looks slightly more complicated. But maybe not. But, you know, excellent art. So, you know, it's always a risk when you buy a game. You go in with expectations, just like a movie or a book. And everybody has different preferences. Come to the table with a prior knowledge and different experience. Definitely cute art. The cards are, they call it linen. It's not really linen, it's a foil stamp. It's what you see here, that pattern there. They go over the press sheet with a thin layer of foil stamping, which gives it durability. And this is nice card stock. Okay, so excellent job on the cards. Hopefully it doesn't get too confusing by me laying it over like this. Might be a little hard to focus. Getting very busy. So there's all the cards. You have different symbols in the corner. And of course different symbols on the bottom. So that's what I mean by what I was concerned about, because when new shops come out, you're going to have to look at, okay, what does it do? And then as you're looking at the different options around the board, should I do this, this, or that? It can be, can get analysis paralysis as well. All right, so here's the smaller cards. You have different decks here. I know a lot of the reviews have come in and people are enjoying it. I did hear from somebody though, they were concerned about the number of rounds that I guess he could end prematurely. I don't know if that's the case or not. That you might not get an equal number of turns. So either that's the case or they didn't play it correctly. And even so, if that is the case, is that really a problem? All right, so these cards, and it looks like are those starter cards. So you have different backs. Okay, so these decks are a lot bigger than those. All right, so let's do the, I'm going to go to the other camera where it's zoomed in more because these were smaller. And these have the same linen coating. Now, are there 6 of these? Yeah, so these are the starter cards depending on what dragon you take. So does that mean that each dragon has different abilities? It looks like it. If you look at the bottom, let's get a little closer here. This guy, called Pan, he has a fire and he draws one. Is that an anvil? And he has a, looks like bread on the upper left, and a symbol there on the right. Now, all of them have that symbol. Now, is that the set? So some people will put symbols like that to indicate what set it is in case there's expansions. So place an anvil. So yeah, each one has different abilities. Here are some other, looks like starter cards. But there are 7. Interesting. Maybe there was a 7th dragon that was supposed to come with it. I know the store that I got it and haven't received everything yet. They're going to contact me about what was missing. So maybe that's what it is. There's a 7th dragon that I was supposed to get with my order that hasn't come in yet. That's probably what it is. All right, so we have these cards here. And these are, so it looks like they're thematically, they have a dragon here that works with like bread. This one works with meat. Works with plants. Now, I don't know if this is your own decks you get. So there's a little bit of, does each dragon get their own deck? But see, there's only 6 of these. So that's really weird. You had additional dragon. So am I missing something? Because I have 6 of these little mini decks. But we have 7 of these. But 6 of these. So not sure what's going on. All right, let's take a look at this. What this deck is. All right, so these are more generic. Doesn't look like it's attached to any specific player's card. I should say player's dragon. So it says things like gain 1 heart for every 2 potion, dragon in town, plus 3 heart, if most. So I'm not sure when you turn those in. Again, when we do our unboxings, we show everything. You could always skip the video to other parts, just in case anybody's on the fence about whether or not this is something you want to. Lower the brightness just a little bit. Okay, so that's that card, those cards. So that was the biggest deck of these last ones. So it looks like these are victory point cards, if I were to guess. I don't know if they're hidden goals or they're available for everybody to see. If you're a young person, you might want to play with them visible. But there are 3 for every dragon. So maybe this is something you pick at the beginning or you acquire throughout the game. Again, there are 6 dragons here, but I see components for 7 in some decks. So this is different backing here. Again, you could always pause it if you want to look at it more closely. But that's the unboxing of Flamecraft. I know I was supposed to get something else here soon. Maybe that's an additional dragon. Maybe it comes with more cards. I don't know. But at some point, Julie and I will play this. And we appreciate you watching. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.